Hello everyone and welcome back to Age of Nagash, which is a channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar. So firstly I want to wish you guys had a good Christmas and all that sort of stuff. Hopefully you got some nice models to work on going into the new year. And of course there has been the announcement of what is happening to the Grots in Age of Sigmar, which I believe they're calling the Gits now. I can't remember the full title, and I do want to go in and make a video on that. However, I want to get my Nighthaunt series done. So like I said, this one is going to be part 5 of the Nighthaunt series, which is going to finish it off. And it will be looking at the battalions. And like I say, I will do a Grot video, but I'd quite like to do it today and do it after they release all the information about the units, as they said they were going to do today. So far we've just got the trailer really. But as this is the time of family, of course, being around Christmas, I'm actually going to my mum's house later today, and because of that means I'm not going to be actually back to basically where my computer is, so I can do the recording until a few days. So I don't know, 4 or 5 days, something like that maybe. But I do want to get a video up about the Grots, and believe me, I'm pretty excited about it. Right, so anyway, leaving that to the side for the moment, let us dive into the battalion of the Nighthaunt. Now, the first one we're going to look at is the Shroud Guard. Now, the Shroud Guard is a battalion that costs you 110 points. It has the organisation, so it has 1 Knight of Shrouds or Reichner the Grim Hailer and 2 units of Blade Geist Revenants. So, its abilities, it only has 1, and this is Frenzied Fever. The Blade Geist of the Shroud Guard are cursed with fanatical devotion to their spectral lord and are incredibly hard to destroy in his presence. Roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to a Blade Geist Revenant model from a unit in this battalion wholly within 12 inches of a Knight of Shrouds or Reichner the Grim Hailer from the same battalion. On a 5+, that wound or mortal wound is negated. If you use this ability, you cannot also use the Deathly Spirit battle trait to try and negate the same wound or mortal wound. So this is essentially just making your death save a 5+ instead of a 6+. Of course it does work, but you have to be within range of your Knight of Shroud or Reichner the Grim Hailer, depending on who you want to go for. Maybe Knight of Shrouds because it's not a main character, so it can take an artifact. But as I've looked at all the heroes now in the Nighthaunt army, maybe Grim Hailer is a bit better. It's got a bit more going on. It's a bit more survivable. So you've got that. And like I say, it does replace that save, so you are getting a 5+ instead of 6+ now. And something worth knowing for me personally with this battalion, it only costs you 110 points, so it's not really expensive at all really, especially how some battalions now have skyrocketed in price. Some fairly have skyrocketed, some maybe not so fairly. But with this, one thing I would bear in mind is that it's only going to work if you're in range of, like I say, that hero you choose, the Knight of Shrouds or Reichner. So if you lose that hero, of course, like if you take loads of enemy shooting, yes, both of those heroes are not monsters, so they will be able to get the Lookout Sir ability going on to make them a bit more harder to kill from enemy shooting. However, if they do take the damage from enemy shooting, if it's mortal wounds, I don't know, if it's like a Thunder Tusk and it's just, I believe it's still a 2+, 6 more wounds, there's not much you can really do about it. The Lookout Surfing is not going to help you out. So for me, it's a bit too centered around a hero or the named character. I do think that's quite cool from like a narrative point of view. It's quite cool. Like these are almost this sort of like bodyguard, and they're driven to further frenzy around them, makes them harder to die. I do like that, but I think just gameplay side, it just makes it a little bit. You're paying 110 points and the enemy could easily kill this guy in the first couple of turns. So for me, I'm not a big fan of it. In all honesty, I do like the models that are in it though. So if I just wanted an extra artifact or something, yeah, you could take it. You could go that route, and if you're taking a lot of Blade Guys, it might be worth it. So about this battalion, so like I said, it costs you 110 points, but of course you've got to pay for all the units within the battalion. So if we look at firstly the cheapest way to build the battalion, which is just going to be a standard Knight of Shrouds, not on an Afield steed, and he costs you 120 points. So far the battalions cost you 230 points. The Blade Geist Revenants, they cost you 90 points for a minimum unit of 5. So 2 units of those for 90 points each. That's going to come to a total with the rest of this battalion for 410 points. So not too expensive, you know, compared to a lot of other battalions. You know, a lot of battalions you wouldn't, you know, there's some that you can squeeze into like a 1,000 point games, but there's some that you can't even do that without battalion not being very good. Of course, it's minimum sized units and the weakest it could be, so it's not going to be worth taking this amount, but I thought I'd just put, you know, how cheap you could take this battalion if you really wanted to for, you know, the really smaller point games. And then if we look at, you know, the most expensive way to take this battalion, so that would be taking Right Colonel the Grim Hailer, who will cost you 180 points, and then plus the points of the battalion, which is 110, so that comes to 290 points. And then with the Blade Geist Remnants, so they cost you 90 points for a minimum size unit of 5, like I said. However, if you take them the maximum size unit, they actually cost you 320 points for 20 models. So you are getting yourself, you know, a bit of a discount there. It's not huge by any stretch of the imagination. You're essentially getting 40 points off if you take them in the max size units. So like I say, you take 2 units of those for 320 points each. That's going to come to 640 points each, and then plus the 290, that will come to a total of 930 points if my maths is correct. So yeah, that's quite expensive, but you know, like I said, that's taking this in the most expensive way you can. That's going to give you 41 models, you know, right on the Grim Hailer, and 40 Blade Geist Remnants. And yeah, so it can be quite expensive. Like I said, this battalion for me, I like the look of it because I do really like the models within it. However, I'm not a fan of the ability. That's wrong. I am a fan of the ability, but I don't like it. You have to be in range of that certain hero. And I know that's sort of the point of this battalion, you know, because it is him that's making them harder to die. However, nah, it's just, if the enemy kills him that quickly, it's completely gone. And I'm not really a fan of those battalions. So moving on to the next one, which is a Death Riders. So this is going to cost you 130 points. The organisation is 1 to 2 Deathblade Harrows, 2 units of Hexwraiths, and 1 Black Coach. And its abilities, it's only got 1, but it's a special Spearhead. Add 1 to the charge rolls for units from this battalion. In addition, if you make an unmodified charge roll of a 9+ for this unit from this battalion, it can fight immediately after you complete the charge move. This does not stop the unit from being picked to fight in the combat phase of the same turn. If this battalion is part of a Nighthaunt army, this ability replaces the Wave or Terror battle trait for all units in this battalion. Okay, so I like this straight away, and I prefer it more than the last one because it doesn't involve you being within, I don't know, 12 inches of the Black Coach or something to get that ability. It's just standard, you're getting it. Also, the nice thing is it says that it's now on a non-modified roll of a 9 for the units in this battalion. They get to attack in the charge phase, which is nice. I thought, you know, when I first read this, they could have very easily gone, but this does not benefit, you know, that attacking the charge phase ability, which would have been like, oh, that kind of sucks, because this was a nice synergy for it. So yeah, I do like this. It is quite a bit of a bigger battalion though, you know, you've got quite a 4 more units within it. So yes, I am a fan of that ability. Like I said, that all mounted Nighthaunt army I think would look awesome anyway. I am a fan of the Hexwraith models, even if they are older. I do feel like they fit in with the aesthetic. The Dreadblade Harrows I love, and the Black Coach goes without saying is an awesome model. And yeah, I think this could be a really heavy, you know, like it says, a spearhead sort of army. I think it really fits that role well. And like I said, it's only +1 to charges, which doesn't seem big at all. And for 130 points to get +1 to charge, you know, that's not really worth writing home about in most cases. But with these guys, because they'll get to attack in the charge phase, they get a 9 or more to charge, it does really start helping with that. And especially how, remember, units of Nighthaunt armies can pop up from the underworlds 9 inches away from the enemy. It makes it a bit harder for them to, well, I say a bit harder, it just makes it hard for them to get the charge in because they're 9 inches away from the enemy when they pop up. With this, they're getting +1 to charge now. If they pop up with a hero as well, you know, pop up with just a cheap hero, it's given, you know, they can get the rerolls to charge. It's just make it that much more reliable to get the charges when you need them. Okay, so and then looking at points to see how much this will cost you. So like I say, firstly we'll do the cheapest way, and then we'll go to see the most expensive way how you could fill out this battalion. So firstly, the battalion's going to cost you 130 points, and then of course you've got, let's start with the most expensive unit and model within this battalion, which is going to be the Black Coach, which is going to cost you 280 points. So with that in mind, you're already looking at 410 points. And then if you're looking at adding in, you know, like I say, those couple units of hex rays, which you have to, the minimum size units for the hex rays is 5, and they cost 160 points by 5 models. So that's 320 points plus the 410 points. That will cost you 730 points so far. And then finishing off with the Dreadblade Harrow, which costs you 100 points. That will cost you, if my maths is correct, 830 points. I think that's correct. I just sort of did that on the fly. I hope so. But anyway, so just looking at the minimum size, you can take this battalion. That's already a lot. That's nearly the size of the maximum price for the last battalion, but that's not a fair way to compare them. But yeah, so this would sort of be the main focus of your army, as we are looking at that was the minimum price, and then looking at the maximum price, which would cost you a total of 1,890 points. So obviously that is a huge cost. Now also something important to remember is that only gives you 2 battle line options as well if you're taking this 2,000 point game, so you am going to need to add in, you know, some Chainmass Hordes just to give you that extra battle line slot. But you know, like I say, the hex race, as they are Battalion Nighthaunt Allegiance, they do give you 2 there, and of course that has taken 40 hex rays, which I doubt most people are going to do. However, I think as like a really cool spearhead battalion, that could be a really quite good fun battalion to run in a game. It's just really fast. You're gonna, if you're taking that many units within this battalion, you're gonna get those 9s pluses to charge. You're gonna be attacking in the charge phase, you know, at least once or twice in a game, which would be really good fun. Then you get to attack in the combat phase as well, which would be great. I think it'd be a really fun battalion. Is it really competitive? Probably not, because like I say, if you want to make this good, I'd say you need to take quite a few hex rays, not 40 perhaps, but quite a few hex rays. And if you do that, it means you're going to have to get quite a few hex rays, and I don't know how many people do. And I know hex rays aren't the best unit within the Nighthaunt army, although I do think they are better than most people make them out. Okay, so that was the Death Riders, and then moving on to the Condemned. So the Condemned Warsaw Battalion is going to cost you 150 points. So most expensive one we've looked at so far, which is, yeah, we're getting into the more expensive ones now. So it's got the organisation, so it's got 1 Spirit Torment, 1 unit of Chain Gas, and then 2 units of Chainmass Hordes. And it also says each unit of Chainmass Hordes must contain at least 20 models. So abilities, so it's only got 1, which is the Cruel Taskmaster, which says you can reroll failed hit rolls for attacks made with the Chainmass Hordes unit from this battalion while they are wholly within 15 inches of this battalion's Spirit Torment or Chain Gas. So now the way to look at this ability is going to be comparing it to the one you get with the Spirit Torment and the Chain Gas. They're in range of the Spirit Torment, which allows you to reroll hit rolls of 1 for Nighthaunt units that are 12 inches wholly within those units. However, with this, it's giving you rerolls of all your failed hit rolls, so that is pretty good, especially how, you know, the Chainmass Hordes, they're not bad anyway. They're to hit rolls, you know, they're hitting on 4s, so you can't really complain there. But this is just giving you that much more versatility, just making them that much more reliable with their attacks, and wholly within 15 inches is good as well. It's extended the range, and if you're taking minimum size units of 20, which you need to in this battalion, it's making it that much more easier. So how good do I think this battalion is? It depends how much you like the Chainmass. I mean, I'm not really a Horde player with most of my armies. Yes, I do have huge Death Row armies with like over 100 skeletons, but I don't really enjoy playing them, if I'm honest. I think they can be really good, but it's just too many models to move around the board. I don't have movement trays, so I have movement trays, I'll probably change my mind. But for me personally, I don't like taking huge hordes. But you know, in this minimum size 40 Chainmass, so not too bad there. But if you really want to make them good, you really want to take max size units of them. So if you are a fan of that and of the Chainmass, it could be a really nice one for you, especially if you are a fan of the Chainmass. It probably means you want to build an army around them, and this battalion meaning that you need to have at least 40 of them in this battalion. It's 2 battle line units as well. That's already a good starter, isn't it? Okay, so and then looking to see how many points this is going to cost you. So firstly, the cheapest it's going to cost you is 520 points, so not too expensive. Bear in mind you're getting 40 models in that. You know, they are basic models, but you know, not too expensive. And then of course we're looking at it for the more expensive side. You're going to max this out as much as you can. It's going to cost you 840 points. So yeah, more expensive obviously than it was before, but not too expensive really, you know, especially building an army around it, because in total that will give you 85 models on the board, which isn't bad at all, you know, especially for how many points it's costing you, and can really make you have big board presence. Like I say, if you like taking hordes, this could be a good battalion for you. And yeah, I do like the models you do get in the unit, but for me it's just going to be too many models, so I won't be taking this battalion. But if you do like hordes, this could be a really good one for you, like I said. And getting those rerolls, the hit, just makes the chain guards in all their attacks, especially if you're taking these huge numbers like that, just going to give you that much damage against the enemy, that much more chance of the enemy failing those save rolls, and like I say, that just turns into more damage you're going to do against them. Right, then moving on to the chain guard, which is going to cost you 120 points for the battalion. The organisation is 1 Guardian of Souls, 2 Chain Grasp Hordes, and again it says each Chain Grasp Horde unit must have at least 20 models within it. It has one ability, which is the Heart of the Horde. Each time a Chain Grasp from this battalion is affected by a spectral law or temporal translation spell cast by the battalion's Guardian of Souls, you can return D6 slain models to that unit, in addition to any models returned to the unit by the spectral law spell. So what that means is that if this Guardian of Souls is doing spectral law onto one of these units of Chain Grasp, they're going to bring back D6 models and then plus D6 models, so 2 D6 models are going to be returning, which is really, really big. So yeah, that's a nice battalion. Obviously, again, it relies on you wanting to take hordes of the Chain Grasp, which aren't bad at all. Like I said, it's just not really my playstyle. And if you do want to take that, it's going to make you be able to bring so many of your models back. So yes, that is quite a good battalion there. Like I said, it's a certain playstyle, but I think that is very nice with that battalion. It's not obviously increasing your damage potential and all that sort of thing, but I suppose it is, because it's bringing back your models that you know are going to do more attacks to the enemy, so it will increase your damage potential, but it's not as obvious as the last battalion, shall we say. So, and then looking on to how much is this battalion going to cost you. Firstly, looking at the minimum size you can take the battalion, it's going to cost you 580 points, so that'll give you your, you know, your 2 units of your 20 Chain Grasp Hordes and then your Guardian of Souls. So not too many points at all really, if you're looking at it that way, especially compared to some other battalions you get out there, and that's giving you, 41 models on the board already and 2 battle line units. And then if we're looking at as the more expensive, really when I say the more expensive, I mean the most expensive way you can say is battalion, it will cost you 820 points. So again, obviously more expensive than it was the minimum size, but it's not really too expensive either, as that is going to give you 81 models on the board, similar to the previous battalion I was talking about. It's giving you that many more models on the board. Again, if you like hordes, that's fantastic, and this Guardian Souls is going to make it really, really good for you to try and bring back those models to this unit. But obviously, if something important to remember is that if your Guardian of Souls from this unit, who is the only one who's going to grant this ability, dies, you're not getting the extra D6 models. So similar to some of the other battalions I've talked about so far in the Nighthaunt, that if that one center hero dies, it is going to really ruin your fun with this battalion, and it's going to no longer have any abilities. So a little bit of a shame, for that, but you might get a bit of use out of it before the enemy snipes this guy out, but the enemy might be able to snipe him out, and then it's a waste of battalion. So you're just going to have to play a bit smart with your Guardian of Souls. Right, okay, then moving on to the next battalion, which is the Execution Horde, which is going to cost you 100 points, so pretty cheap for the battalion itself. And then the organisation, so an Execution Horde consists of the following units: 1 Lord Executioner and 3 units of Spirit Hosts. It has one ability, the Headsman Masses. So subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target this battalion's Lord Executioner, while a Spirit Host unit from this battalion is within 6 inches of the attacker's unit. In addition, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by this battalion's Lord Executioner, or any Spirit Host units from this battalion are within 6 inches of the target unit. Okay, so firstly for me, I'm not a huge fan of this one, just because I don't I'm not a massive fan of the Lord Executioner myself, so I don't really see much point in making him really good and spending 100 points for a battalion just to make him that much better. Yes, you want to take a lot of Spirit Hosts, maybe you can, in your army, and you want them to be the main unit army. Sure, you could take this, and it's going to give you the extra artifact. It's going to make your Lord Executioner a bit more survivable and a bit more better in combat, but nah, I'm not really a big fan of this battalion. Sorry about that, not really too motivated about this one, but it's not, if it was like +1 to hit for the Spirit Hosts, which, obviously wouldn't let them trigger their mortal wounds in a 5 anymore because it's a non-modified hit roll of a 6. They do that, but still making them hit on 4s rather than 5s would be huge, especially the amount of attacks they have. And yeah, sure, you can make this battalion more expensive if that is what the ability was going to be. But making the Lord Executioner better, it's just like, yeah, I know he can do good things against enemy heroes if he's extremely lucky. Apart from that, I'm not a big fan of him at all. So, I mean, yeah, it makes the enemy -1 to hit, an enemy hero, raging in combat. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of this battalion. But I will still tell you how many points it's going to cost you. And I don't mean it in a really negative way. I'm just, the Lord Executioner, I love the model. Don't get me wrong, fantastic. But he's not all that to me, if I'm all honest. So, let's look to see how much this battalion would cost you in the minimum size. So like I said, it's going to cost you 100 points, so it is a cheap battalion, and the cheapest you can take this battalion is 540 points. So not going to cost you loads of points, but I think for really what it is, I'm not a huge fan of it. And then going on to the more expensive way you can take this battalion, that's if you take max size units of everything, which is going to ramp up the price cost certainly to a total of 1,620 points, which of course is hugely more expensive than the cheapest way you can run this. But to be fair, that is going to give you 36 Spirit Hosts on the board. I don't know who would actually be sane enough to build 36 Spirit Hosts, but if you have already done that, fantastic and well done to you. I do like the models. I think they still do definitely stand out. Up to the new units for the Nighthaunt, I think they definitely do fit in, and they do fit in with the Lord Executioner because he's got the Spirit Host sort of floating around him. So yes, that would look magnificent on the board, and you would be able to do so many more wins to the enemy if you took that many. But yeah, that's a lot of Spirit Hosts to make, isn't it, at the end of the day? And if you ever made Spirit Hosts, yeah, they're not the best things to make in the world, shall we just say that? And to be fair, yeah, we'll give you your free battle line units in this battalion as well. But I'm just, like I say, not a massive fan about this battalion. If it did anything else apart from just make the Lord Executioner better, I'd like it. If it actually benefited the Spirits, like I said, give him +1 to hit, or I don't know, give him extra movement or something. Just not benefit the one little hero that's within this battalion. For me, just doesn't really do anything because you don't. The Lord Executioner is just, he's not bad at all. He only costs you 80 points for a hero. Nothing to complain about. Which is why I don't want them to go, right, okay, this is a really cheap hero. In this battalion, we're going to make him slightly better for you. Right, that's not why I take this hero, for his combat ability. Yes, he can get lucky against enemy heroes, but I'd rather take Carnbrave in all honesty. So, pretty disappointed there. But, it is a cheap battalion, so not too bad. Like I said, if you want to take loads of Spirit Hosts in your army, this could be a battalion you could aim towards to give you that extra artifact, and so on. Right. Okay, so then we move on to the Death Stalkers, which is going to cost you 120 points for the battalion itself. Its organisation is 1 Carnwraith, 2 units of Gringotts Reapers, and 2 units of Glaive Wrath Stalkers. So abilities, it only has 1. So this is after setup is complete, but before the battle begins. Pick 1 enemy unit to be soul marked by this battalion. Add 1 to hit and wound rolls for attacks made by units from this battalion that target soul marked unit. So I think this is one of the battalions that is quite popular within Nighthaunt. Like I say, I haven't really played much Nighthaunt myself, so I can't speak hugely because I haven't played this battalion, but I think this is quite popular because of how many people like the Gringotts Reapers. Give them that +1 to hit and wound, and yeah, you can only pick 1 enemy unit for this, but usually the enemy has, they maybe have more than 1, but usually they just have 1, like, not a Death Star unit, but 1 like unit that's there to do, fighting and combat and to do damage to yourself. You can just go, yeah, mark that one. You get your charges in first so much, obviously you bubble wrap your unit so the members of this battalion are not going to get too much damage before they get into combat. And yes, they can do loads of damage to that 1 enemy unit that you have marked. So yeah, anyone will tell you that the Grimghast Reapers are good. I am personally a fan of the Gleefruff Stalkers in minimum size units, just so they can nip around and like get about, and that doesn't really come into it with this battalion, but I think they're great at taking objectives. So yeah, I'd happily have 2 units of them in my army. And the Khan Wraith, I think I've made it quite clear on several videos how much I love the Khan Wraith. For a 60-point hero, he is amazing. The enemies, you know, never really attack him because there's not much point. You know, he's a waste of time to attack, but I think he's fantastic for exactly that. The enemies don't attack him, and because of that, he survives. Only got 4 wounds, so you know there's no much point doing too much damage to him. But if the enemy don't kill him, he's gonna just chip away at them by getting every so often doing 2 more wounds to the enemy, which is, oh, I do love the Khan Wraith for his really sort of underdog and sort of dark horse appearance. Okay, so looking at how many points this battalion will cost you. So like I said, it's going to cost you 120 points for the battalion itself. So the minimum this battalion will cost you is 580 points, so quite similar to what we looked at for the minimum for a lot of the other battalions, in all honesty. So yeah, that's not bad, is it? And it's giving you, you know, a fair few models within that. You know, you're getting, what, 29 models within that, because what, the Gleefruff Stalkers come in minimum size units of 4, don't they? So yes, that would be correct. And then looking at how expensive you can take this battalion if you really want to max it out, and that would be 1,360 points, which is of course getting quite expensive now. It's more than half your army in a 2,000 point army. However, that's not too expensive, especially if you build the whole army sort of around this. As the Grimghast Reapers are going to be battle line units in your Nighthaunt army anyway, that gives you 2 units of Nighthaunt battle line, and you just need 1 more unit. That's giving you, you know, units of 30 Grimghast Reapers. So that's pretty good there. It's giving you loads of the Gleefruff Stalkers, and it's giving you the Khan Wraith. What you'd want to add in is quite a few more support heroes, and then a 3rd battle line option, of course. But I think that's a pretty solid battalion, honestly. I am a big fan of that. That's one of my favourite battalions so far. So yeah, I do like that, guys. Right, okay, then moving on to the next one, which is the Shrieker Host. So the Shrieker Host is going to cost you 140 points. It consists of 1 Tomb Banshee, 2 units of Dreadscythe Harridans, and 2 units of Mirworn Banshees. And it has 1 ability, which is the Mournful Wailing. So reroll Battleshock rolls for 1 for enemy units that are within 6 inches of any units from this battalion at the start of the Battleshock phase. In addition, the Inspiring Presence command ability cannot be used on an enemy unit that are within 6 inches of any units from this battalion. So firstly, what I want to say is this is my favourite battalion. I don't know how, you know, amazing it is, you know, across the board, but for me, I would absolutely love to take this battalion, take it against enemy armies, particularly, you know, their bravery's terrible. If it's a Skaven army or Grot army or, you know, whatever, even an Iron army, you know, a lot of destruction armies in particular, and just go, yeah, okay, so that unit of, I don't know, 40 models has lost 20 models. I know your plan. You're going to use your Inspiring Presence on them. You can't do that anymore. Oh, and Battleshock. Oh, you rolled a 1. Okay, so, you know, it's not too bad, is it? I mean, you know, maybe you'll survive. However, you're going to re-roll that one. And I would just take so much enjoyment in being a bastard, really, using that ability. So that's why I'd love to take that battalion. If I was building a Nighthaunt army, I would definitely go for the Shrieker Host, as I just think it would be a hell of a lot of fun. Yeah, you could take it against Demon armies and other Death armies, and, you know, take it against an elite Death army. This battalion's not really going to come into it at all, really, and it could be a huge waste. But for those armies that are, you know, going to be good against it, you know, and then, you know, even some Stormcast armies, you know, sure, they're great with their bloody North on a Dracoff, who gives that ability that I believe is within 24 inches. Stormcast units don't have to take Battleshot tests, which is a real pain in the arse. And yeah, of course, that means that this ability won't come into it. But if you manage to kill that Lord Cezanne on a Dracoff, then it's not just, oh, well, now I have to start doing Battleshock. It's like, yeah, you're going to have to start doing Battleshock, and I control the Battleshock phase. So enjoy, you little bastard. So yes, I do really like this. I also really like the models in this battalion. If I'm honest, like I've said many times, I do like most of the models within the Nighthaunt army. The models within this battalion, all the sort of Banshee units, are my favourite looking models, so I do absolutely love it. So I'm a bit biased towards this battalion, of course. But yes, I just love it when you went against, I don't know, a Beast Corps Raider army, and they've got a unit of Mournfang. If you go against them, they've got Bravery 6, so let's just say that you only kill 1 of them in the unit of, let's say, I don't know, 4. And what that would mean is that if you rolled a 6, that means that one of the models in the unit is going to run away, and of course they've got their banner that allows them to re-roll that 6. However, let's say they roll 1 and think, oh, easy, sorted, you know, no worry at all. And it's like, actually, you're going to re-roll that 1, and then they roll a 6, and it's like, oh, well, I'm going to re-roll that 6 because my banner lets me do it. No, you can't re-roll, and that is one of your Mornfang and dead. So that would be great. Or if they've got a big unit of them, they've taken a really bad hit, it's like, right, I really need to use Inspiring Presence on these big guys. No, you can't do that. Bye-bye. So, yes, that's why I love this battalion. I just think it'd be a load of fun. And yeah, like I say, it's Demon and Death Army and Bravery 10 and Bravery, you know, like 9 armies and all that sort of thing. It's not really going to be any good, but just making the enemy reroll ones to Battle Shock can be massive. And then plus no Inspiring Presence command ability, which... remember how that works these days is a case of the enemy goes, okay, you know, I didn't really expect them to take a massive hit. There's some Inspiring Presence there, you know, get that under control basically. It's going to go, no, you can't do that. And the enemy didn't see it coming, and then they can't Inspiring Presence it, and then, you know, they haven't been able to react to it, which means they're going to suffer for it hugely. So yes, I am a big fan of that. Right, okay, now looking at how many points this is going to cost you. So firstly, obviously the minimum size, which will be 560 points. So again, a lot of the minimum size battalions for the Nighthaunt are all around the same sort of size, but don't look at it too much as you want to sort of fill these battalions out. So yeah, that's pretty cheap obviously, but and then looking at on the other side of the scale, so the most expensive when I take this battalion, which would cost you 1,340 points, which is obviously of course very expensive. However, you're going to get yourself a lot of models on the table. You know, you're going to have 24, you know, of the Mirmon Banshees. You're going to have, you know, 40 of the Jets of Harridans, and then you're going to have, you know, obviously your Tomb Banshee. So you really just want to fill in more support heroes you're going to need for the army, and then obviously your battle line, because this isn't going to include any battle line for the army, even though how much I'd love the Dread Scythes to be battle line. Okay, so like I said, that is my favourite battalion. Like I said, I'm massively biased of it because I love abilities that affect the enemy's bravery and can do damage around that. And yes, it's not really directly doing damage, but it's going to make more chance of them running away, which, you know, obviously when a model runs away, it is slain. So it does do damage to the enemy in that way. Reason I love doing abilities that affect enemy bravery and battle shock and stuff, it's like the reason I got my Flare army that, you know, works on enemy's bravery, is because bravery is something the enemy can very easily overlook. And I'm not saying everyone overlooks it or anything like that. A lot of people do consider it, but it's like, oh, have I got bravery for? I don't care, I'm going to do Inspiring Presence on that. Well, firstly, you can't do Inspiring Presence with this guy if they're going to be within 6 inches of your units from this battalion. And also, it's going to also, you know, if you're playing the, you know, anti-bravery card through this battalion anyway, there's also Banshees as well. So if you want to try and make the enemy minus bravery, which you can with the Nighthaunt army, it's going to help out the Banshees screaming and all that. So yeah, I do love it for those reasons. Okay, so this is just going to leave us with the last battalion, and this is of course the cheapest battalion, but it's only costing you 80 points. But when I say it's the cheapest, that's a very sort of misunderstanding way of looking at it, because it is the battalion of all the battalions which is never going to be fielded unless it's a massive open play game, which at that point I don't know why they give it a battalion cost, because at that point you're not playing for points really unless you've got like a weekend to play this game. So it is the Nighthaunt Procession. So it's got organisation, so 1 Shroud Guard, 6 War Scroll battalions chosen in any combination from the following list: the Condemned, Chain Guard, Execution Horde, Death Riders, Death Stalkers and Shrieker Host. So all the battalions we've just looked at. So abilities, it's got 1 ability which is Abound Beneath Indomitable Will. So roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to a friendly Nighthaunt model from this battalion within 12 inches of a general or friendly Nighthaunt hero from the battalion. On a 6+, the wound is negated if this battalion is part of a Nighthaunt army. This ability places the Deathless Spirit battle trait for units in this battalion. Okay, so firstly, looking at this in a Nighthaunt army, this is absolutely pointless because the Deathless, you know, Spirit battle trait gives you exactly this, unless there's anything I can see differently. If you guys see something different, let me know. But yeah, so this is only useful in sort of a generic Death army or Legions of the Nagash army, which, yeah, I mean, I don't know how big this army is going to be because you're taking how many thousands of points of Nighthaunt within it, but it's like the biggest. It frustrates me because it's the biggest Nighthaunt battalion that you're never really going to take like loads of the other battle tomes that have got these massive battalions, apart from the Legion of Nagash battle tome. It doesn't have a massive battalion in it because that's the only army I could possibly fill this massive battalion in, so that's very annoying for me. But anyway, talking about the Nighthaunt, so this Nighthaunt procession, which is the massive battalion for the Nighthaunt army, you know, if all the mana together, does absolutely fuck all in a Nighthaunt army, which is, like I say, never really going to be played, but it's really annoying. In all honesty, yeah, can be in a Legion of the Gas army and all that sort of thing, but it's not why you take this battalion. So yeah, that's just quite disappointing, really. And I'm not going to go into how many points it's still going to cost you, because after reading it, it is not even worth taking, and that's just me saying that. But if you're playing it in a huge, you know, point game, and points don't really matter, yeah, you know, 80 points, whatever, doesn't really care. So yeah, whatever. So yeah, sorry to sound like a bit depressed on the last one, but I'm just sort of reading that, I'm like, how does that, I mean, why would you take that? But anyway, guys, so looking at the battalions, my favourite one is the Shrieker Host. As I've said, I love things that affect the enemy bravery and battle shock. Let me know what your favourite battalions are down below. And with this video, guys, this also ends the Nighthaunt series. So I know it's gone on for a while now. I know when I started it, I wanted to try and get it done fairly quickly, but it quickly became clear after the first video that went on for nearly 2 hours that this was going to be a long series. Instead of just rushing it and getting it done, I wanted to spend my time on it, to treat every single part of the army, give it the time it needs to talk about the different aspects and stuff, and really have a good look and review of it. So I really hope you guys have watched the rest of the series coming up to now. Really hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please let me know your thoughts and stuff about the Nighthaunt army, as well as it's great to share ideas. If you haven't seen the previous videos, and this is the first one you said, please go back and look at them, as there is 4 other parts of the Nighthaunt army. There's also the lore video for the Nighthaunt I've done as well. And yeah, I'm really happy how this has worked out. So this is the first army of the new series I was doing, which was a lore video for the army, and then what was going to be an army video for the army, looking at how it works and all that sort of thing in the game. However, that one army video for the Nighthaunt turned into 5 separate long videos. So we're going to see how that works, looking at the future you know, races within Age of Sigmar that I want to do the videos for, and it'll be exciting to move on to something else. I did really enjoy the Nighthaunt, and like I said before, I sort of did this you know, dive into Nighthaunt like this. I didn't know so much about them, knew a little bit, but I had mentioned in previous videos that please let me know your point of views, because I didn't know too much about the army, but now actually spending so much time looking at the Nighthaunt, I feel a lot more knowledgeable myself. Really hope you guys have learned something from this and enjoyed it as well. It's been great doing the series. Like I said, it's taken a little bit longer, but I wanted to do it right. And yeah, so I look forward to doing something new. I'm glad that we got the Nighthaunt boxed off, and like I say, it'd be good to look at something else within the Immortal Realms. So like I say, guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and comment down below. That all helps me massively. I'm really grateful now that I've got over 700 subscribers. I couldn't even imagine having that many. I've talked about this many times before. When I got my first subscriber, I was over the moon. Now I've got over 700. Absolutely fantastic, guys. Can't thank you enough. All your support really does encourage me to spend as much time making videos as I possibly can. And I thank you as well for all your support you give me through the first series of army and lore videos, which was the Nighthaunt. I really liked it that you guys gave me your feedback and told me tips and stuff about the Nighthaunt as I was making the videos. So it really did give me the info and insight I needed for the next videos. And yeah, I thank you very much for watching these, guys. Hope you're having a great holiday season and had a fantastic Christmas. Let me know your thoughts down below and what videos you'd like me to make in the video. And until next time, remember, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.